Well, notorious drug lord Tony Mockbel has had a conviction for cocaine importation quashed by the Court of Appeal today amid the legalities associated with the Lawyer X scandal. Now, the decision came after prosecutors admitted Nicola Gobbo had been a registered police informer while representing him. Now, at this point, Mockbel still remains behind bars in Victoria, but is appealing other drug convictions. I caught up with Herald Sun reporter Genevieve Allison a little earlier to get the latest. Genevieve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.
Tell us about Tony Mockbel's day. Things have improved for him.
Yeah, the drug kingpin had a good day in court on Tuesday today. He had one of his convictions for cocaine importation sensationally quashed in the Court of Appeal, which was quite a surprise development in his long-running legal battle to walk free from prison over the Lawyer X principle, which is what they're calling a number of appeals that are on foot of cases that are believed to be tainted by disgraced barrister turned police informer Nicola Gobbo. So he's serving at least 22 years behind bars for numerous drug trafficking convictions. But today, one of those convictions, a 2-kilo importation of cocaine from Mexico, was quashed and his sentence was set aside. And in the ordinary course of events, a retrial might be ordered, but because he's already served that portion of his sentence, the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions conceded that there was no point in ordering a fresh trial, and they were happy for that conviction to be quashed and to move on to the next one.
So how much do we know about what Nicola Gobbo, who was on Mockbel's legal team, told police about what he was up to?
Yeah, well, we don't know exactly the extent of what she divulged to police when she was his junior barrister on that cocaine trial. And it was actually the trial that prompted him to flee Australia to Greece. So she was the junior barrister, but 6 months earlier, she'd also been one of police's top informers. And it's been conceded in court today that while she was his barrister and working on his legal team, she was also telling police about some of his legal strategies and how he was going to approach the trial, as well as some of his other criminal activity outside of the charges that he was facing, and also dishing the dirt on some of the criminal associates he was surrounding himself with. So Mockbel and a lot of her other former clients are still waiting for a lot of that disclosure material from police to find out exactly how much she told investigators while she was representing these clients. But it seems that, you know, even if it was the smallest amount of information, it was too much in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, of course. Including whether she had anything to do with pinpointing where he was in Greece so he could be arrested with that very silly toupee on?
That's right. It was suggested during the Royal Commission into this whole legal saga that Tony Mockbel said in 2006 Nicola Gobbo came to him and said that she warned him that police were looking to charge him with murder and that he should get out of town. And that's exactly what he did. He fled to Bonnie Doon and then waited for his yacht all the way to the Greek islands, where he was eventually tracked down in that ridiculous wig and extradited back to Australia. And while he was waiting to be extradited, he also sought legal advice from Gobbo, still trusting her as a trusted legal counsel. So one of the grounds of his upcoming appeals will be that the extradition was unlawful because his lawyer may have well got him into that situation in the first place.
Oh, now another drug importer, Salvatore Agresta, has had a pretty good week thanks to Lawyer X too.
Yeah, it's all happening in the Court of Appeal this week, and it's only Tuesday. So Salvatore Agresta, he was one of the men that was convicted over the Tomato Tins ecstasy haul, and this was in 2007. More than 15 million ecstasy tablets were imported, smuggled into Australia from Italy in tomato tins, and at the time it was the world's biggest ecstasy haul. Now, when about a dozen men were convicted and faced trial over that syndicate, Nicola Gobbo represented a number of them. Salvatore Agresta was sentenced to just under 9 years for his role in that syndicate. He's appealing his conviction, and because he's almost served all of those 9 years, yesterday he was granted bail while he awaits for his appeal, because it's going to be a number of months, if not years, before all these appeals linked to the Lawyer X principle are heard before the court. So he's been granted bail and he'll wait in the community until he can have his appeal heard.
And what a lot of people are wondering also is what will become of informant 3838 and those who got her on board as an informant?
Well, that's the big question, and this comes just a couple of weeks after the Royal Commission into the legal scandal handed down their final report. And Commissioner McMurdo, a former judge, she made more than 100 recommendations, and one of the big ones was that a special investigator be appointed to look into Nicola Gobbo and the people that worked with her in Victoria Police, and to see if anything that she has done could be deemed criminal, and whether there should be charges that stem from this really disgraceful period in Victoria Police and the legal fraternity. So once that special investigator starts looking into it, I'm sure we'll get a clearer idea of just what will be the fate of Nicola Gobbo.
If you'd have pitched to the producers in Hollywood that kind of movie script, they would have knocked it back for being so fanciful. It's just amazing. Genevieve Allison, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Chris.